Could the tremors of global conflict rumbling in the distance actually be the early signs of World War III? It's a question that demands careful consideration. Our world is a complex tapestry of nations, each with its own ambitions, fears, and strategies. Escalating tensions can have far-reaching consequences, shaping the future in ways we can't always predict. However, it's crucial to remember that this discussion is speculative, not a forecast of doom. We're simply examining the geopolitical landscape, exploring the possibilities. Let's delve into the historical context and current events that may suggest a potential global conflict. First, we need to understand the historical context that shapes today's geopolitical landscape. In the aftermath of World War II, the world was essentially divided into two major blocks. The United States, along with its allies, formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. This was a collective defense pact, promising mutual support in the face of potential Soviet aggression. On the other side, the Soviet Union and its allies formed the Warsaw Pact, a similar alliance but rooted in communist ideology. This division set the stage for the Cold War, a period of political and military tension between the Western Bloc, led by the United States, and the Eastern Bloc, led by the Soviet Union. It was called the Cold War because it didn't escalate into full-scale direct warfare between the two superpowers. However, it was anything but cold, as it involved numerous proxy wars, intense political confrontations, and a nuclear arms race. With the dissolution of the Soviet Union in the early 90s, the Warsaw Pact was also disbanded. However, NATO continued to exist and even expanded to include several former Warsaw Pact members, which Russia saw as a threat to its sphere of influence. This expansion of NATO has been a major point of contention between Russia and the West, contributing to the current tensions. The end of the Cold War didn't mean the end of geopolitical strife. Rather, it marked a change in the nature of global conflicts. The world moved away from a bipolar order to a more complex multipolar world order with multiple centers of power. Today, international relations are not just about the tensions between Russia and NATO. Numerous other regional conflicts, economic rivalries, and ideological clashes also play a significant role in shaping the world's geopolitical landscape. Now that we have this historical background, let's examine some recent events that have stirred up global tensions. In the heart of Eastern Europe, the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine is a major point of concern. The year 2022 saw a marked escalation in this conflict, a development that sent ripples across the globe. Russia's aggressive stance and Ukraine's determined resistance have created a volatile situation, fraught with potential for further escalation. In response to Russia's actions, the international community has rallied around Ukraine, imposing stringent sanctions on Russia. These sanctions, aimed at crippling Russia's economy, are testament to the world's condemnation of Russia's aggression. But beyond economic consequences, these sanctions have also served to further strain international relations. The United States alone has contributed over $100 billion in support of Ukraine, a clear sign of the world's commitment to upholding international law and sovereignty. This support is not limited to financial aid. Military assistance in various forms has also been extended, boosting Ukraine's capacity to resist Russian advances. But what does this mean for the future? The Russia-Ukraine conflict, as it stands, is a potential powder keg. The slightest misstep could lead to a wider conflict, drawing in not just the immediate parties, but also their respective allies. On the one hand, we have Russia, a major global power with significant military might. On the other, we have Ukraine, backed by a significant portion of the international community. The balance is delicate, the stakes are high, yet it's important to remember that this is not the only region in the world where tensions are high. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is just one potential flashpoint. There are others as well. Shifting our focus to East Asia, we find another potential hotspot, the Korean Peninsula. The situation here has been heating up, with North Korea conducting an unprecedented number of missile tests over the past 2 years. This show of military might has not gone unanswered, with the United States and South Korea responding with their own military exercises. The stakes are high, the potential for escalation is palpable, and one wrong move could lead to a catastrophic chain of events. Renewed conflict in this region would not only mean massive casualties, but also significant geopolitical implications. It's a domino effect that the world can ill afford. The call for de-escalation is growing louder. Some argue that the United States should consider reducing its military presence in South Korea, a move that could diminish the risk of unnecessary conflict. South Korea and Japan have robust militaries and are more than capable of defending themselves. A stronger regional resolve could also act as a deterrent to any provocative actions from China. The Biden administration has already taken steps towards this, initiating a troop drawdown that could pave the way for dialogue and potentially lead to a reduction in missile tests from North Korea. This path of de-escalation could be the key to ensuring peace on the Korean peninsula. However, the question remains, will these measures be enough to prevent further escalation, or are we simply delaying the inevitable? The answers to these questions are far from clear. What is clear, though, is that the Korean peninsula is another area where a small spark could ignite a larger conflict. Beyond Ukraine and Korea, there are other areas of concern around the globe. The South China Sea, for instance, is a hotbed of tension, where territorial disputes have been brewing for years among several nations, including China, Vietnam, Malaysia, and the Philippines. These disputes over islands and maritime boundaries have resulted in several clashes, increasing the risk of a larger conflict. Shift your attention to the Middle East, a region that has long been a stage for geopolitical strife. Issues such as the Iran nuclear deal, conflicts in Syria and Yemen, and the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian dispute all contribute to a delicate balance of power that could easily tip into chaos. Moreover, we must not overlook the rise of cyber warfare. In our increasingly digital world, nations now have the capability to disrupt each other's infrastructures without firing a single bullet. Cyber attacks on power grids, communication networks, and financial systems could potentially trigger global conflicts, making this a significant point of concern. It is crucial to understand that these situations are not isolated events. They are intricate pieces of a complex global puzzle, intricately linked and capable of influencing each other. The tension in one region can have ripple effects that reverberate across the globe, adding to existing pressures and potentially sparking larger conflicts. With all these potential flashpoints, one may wonder if World War III is inevitable. So, is World War III inevitable? It's a daunting question. And as we've explored in this video, there are certainly global conflicts and tensions that give us pause. From the Russia-Ukraine conflict, to the situation in the Korean Peninsula, and other potential flashpoints around the globe, the world today certainly has its share of challenges. However, to answer the question directly, no, World War III is not inevitable, and here's why. Despite the numerous conflicts, one crucial factor that we need to consider is the role of diplomacy. The international community has become increasingly adept at using diplomatic channels to resolve conflicts and tensions. From the United Nations to regional blocs like the European Union and ASEAN, diplomatic efforts are often successful in de-escalating situations and preventing them from escalating into full-blown wars. International cooperation also plays a significant role in maintaining peace. Countries around the world are more interconnected than ever before, and this interdependence often acts as a deterrent to war. Conflicts are costly, not just in terms of human lives but also economically. The globalization of trade means that a war between two countries can have severe repercussions for the global economy. And this is a deterrent that wasn't as prevalent in the times of the first two world wars. Conflict resolution mechanisms have also become more sophisticated and effective over the years. From peace treaties to international arbitration, the tools available to resolve conflicts without resorting to war are numerous and constantly evolving. So, while the global landscape might seem fraught with tensions and conflicts, it's vital to remember that these do not automatically lead to world war. The mechanisms in place to prevent such a catastrophic event are robust and continually improving. While the possibility of World War III is a sobering thought, it is important to remember that conflict is not inevitable. Through understanding, diplomacy, and cooperation, we can navigate these turbulent times and strive for a peaceful world.